Well, good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Now, as we read through Matthew's account, let's start at the Last Supper, we see the preparations and we get a little bit more of the story of Judas that comes to light. Now, the question isn't, I can get you, Jesus, but what will you give me if I hand him over? It has more a feeling of a scene from like The Godfather, or, it's behind the back of everyone. It's behind closed doors, and it's not a huge amount of cash by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually the price paid to the shepherd and Zechariah. Interesting, it's also the compensation one would be due if your servant was gored by an ox. I think that was probably just happenstance, but you never know. God is an amazing person. He will work all these things together. So now, these were apparently not large-sized coins in any stretch of the imagination, but the narrative says that Judas then looked for an opportunity to hand him over. He would find that opportunity. Somewhere, somehow, people started trying to make excuses for Judas. He didn't want to kill Jesus, he was just trying to help. When in history have you ever seen betrayal of a friend work out positively for anybody? Yeah. Over the millennia, this has occurred many times. Brutus did not work well for him with Julius Caesar. Judas certainly didn't have it work out well. Look at St. Thomas More and St. John Fisher. Their friends didn't work out too well for them because nobody can remember who they are. They helped him right to the grave, but not much came of them. But even with the criminal world, I've been told, once you betray someone, it generally does not go well. This has been portrayed in numerous movies and TV series as well. But the people still think it won't happen to them. But betrayal, lying, do break God's rules to not bear false witness and honoring one's superiors. But Judas takes his place on one side of the screen. But the disciples go on their other way, preparing for the Passover on this side. They ask where they should go. It's interesting to note that there will be a certain man. We have no idea who this man is or his relationship to the group. Perhaps this is so that we can sort of put ourselves into the story as being that certain person. But the disciples found this man and found his house and prepared for the Passover. Jesus again recognizes his time has drawn near. Like Mark, the glorification of Jesus is found in the crucifixion. I know that always sounded wrong to me as well. But when you think about it, it's going through the crucifixion that we are all saved. Easter is just additional topping on the cake that everlasting life is true. Then, a most extraordinary thing happens as they were all reclined around the table. Now, they did not have a bunch of lazy boys sitting around, but they reclined on their side, eating and talking. That was the way it was done back then. Jesus declares, knowing that all that was going to be occurring, and that one of them was going to betray him. Everyone is again flabbergasted, such a story from yesterday's narrative from John, but it's interesting that even Judas claims not to be the one betraying. And it is possible that he has deluded himself enough not to recognize what he's actually doing. It's always amazing how we are able to do that. We can actually convince ourselves that something that is wrong can be right. I believe this is where the older term of reconciliation comes from. We have to reconcile the things that we are doing with the truth that has been given to us by God. This helps to make it more of a sense of Jesus' response, since he knows what is going to happen. But Judas hasn't recognized it yet. Jesus responds, "You have said so." But Jesus recognizes the gulf between Judas's words and his actions. much like our own child may zing us when they note a discrepancy between our words and our actions. We tend not to like it when we're told of these discrepancies. Hence, we have another axiom that we tend to use: do as I say, not as I do. Woe to that man whom the Son of Man has betrayed. And as we know, a great woe it was. Judas didn't see it that way. He convinced himself that he was thinking right. Jesus allowed his free will, as one cannot love and limit people's free will. We talked about a bit more yesterday. So it seems that we have 2 days in a row of the same story, but yesterday's gospel was focused more on Judas, whereas today is more of a bit of the backstory and a general scene as one would look at it. We have reached the fulfillment of all that we've been looking for, as tomorrow we begin the Mass of the Lord's Supper. There is no morning Mass. There will be what's called the Chrism Mass, which the bishop blesses and sends all of the oils, the chrism oil, the oil of catechumens, and the oil of the sick, that will be blessed and brought to the individual churches. And that will be brought to the church officially on Holy Thursday liturgy, which is the first of the 3 days that make up what's called the Triduum. So, now I highly urge you to bring yourself to this beautiful Mass. Friday we'll continue the Mass with the veneration of the cross, and Saturday night is the amazing Easter Vigil. All those who have been in RCA will be welcome to the church, receiving First Communion and Confirmation. And for those who have not previously been baptized, because you can only be baptized once, that will happen as well. It's a glorious celebration merging together God and mankind, declaring He is risen, He has truly risen. So we'll come back tomorrow, give you an overview of the next few days, and we'll forward ourselves into Easter, but got to get through the Triduum first. So you have a wonderful Wednesday. Be good, play nice, thank God.